Hello and welcome to today's episode of Platinum Talks Wealth. Emmy-nominated journalist Jennifer Rogers Markwell changed gears in her television career when she realized the need to help women make sense of investing. She regularly hosts educational workshops to empower women and others to take charge of their financial future. Now, join your host, Platinum Wealth Management President Jennifer Rogers Markwell, as she leads us into the world of money memories, money infidelities, and how these can mold our relationship with our personal finances as adults. Let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, and thanks so much for joining us on today's Platinum Talks Wealth podcast. I'm Jennifer Rogers Markwell, and today we are joined by fellow podcaster Annemarie Stolting. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, tell us more about who you are and why you do what you do.
I am a mother of three. I am a former teacher. I am a wife. I'm a dog mom. I work part-time for a pet food company. So I wear a lot of different hats. And my focus over the last couple of years has really been trying to find a balance among all of these different things in my life, because things got really busy. I felt really frazzled. I felt like I was getting pulled in a lot of different directions, and I was burnt out. I was tired, and I was having a really hard time being present for my day to day, because I always felt like I had so much, spinning around in my head, and I was always worried about the next thing. Oh, I still have to do this and this, and the to-do list, and just all of it. So I started reading a lot of books. I'm kind of a self-improvement nerd. I head to the nonfiction section of Kindle and the library and all of that. And I've just read a lot of books on the topic. I started really trying to just bring it up with my friends and stuff, like, hey, do you feel this way? Like, what are you doing to kind of address this? And it was definitely a common theme pretty much among everybody, even kids, like everybody's just, busy, so busy all the time, we'll get coffee, never have time to get coffee. And, good intentions, of course, and a lot of positive things. I mean, I'm very blessed. These are all blessings in my life. They're all wonderful things, but it became challenging. And I finally just had to kind of regroup a little bit and say, you know what, I don't want to all of a sudden wake up and I'm like old and my kids are grown and I'm just tired. And I'm thinking, what just happened? I want to really enjoy it. And you know what? I think that I deserve to enjoy it. I think you deserve to enjoy it. I think sometimes we miss the mark a little bit by filling our plate too much, right? With our schedules and maybe spreading ourselves too thin with all of our financial obligations and everything else that we have going on, that even if it's a lot of positive things, it can be too much. There can be too much of a good thing, right? What do they say? You can do anything, but you can't do everything. And just starting to focus on, putting some limits and boundaries on things, saying no to more. It's a work in progress. I do not have it figured out yet, but I started the podcast to have the conversations about it and bring some attention to this.
So valuable. Yes. Well, and I'm a work in progress by all means. I'll be the first to tell you.
We all are.
I do not have this figured out. This is something I'm still trying to navigate.
And you know what? The second we think we have it figured out, everything changes anyway. So it's always moving.
So true. Do you feel like this kind of came out of, I mean, I hate to pinpoint COVID on it, but we had definitely a different time in COVID. When we came out of COVID, it seems like the year of yes for everyone. That year of yes where everyone was like, I'm doing it all. I'm doing it all because I couldn't do it all.
Yep,
do you feel like that's for you when you started feeling this way even more so?
I would definitely say so, for sure. I was one of those people during COVID. I was like, this is great. I'm fine with not leaving my house for a while. I'm a homebody. I was fine with it. And I'm also lucky because I live in a 4-bedroom house. I have an acre of property. It's not like I was thinking of some of these poor people in these, apartments in New York City where they can't leave. And they're like that. I would have lost my mind, but I had breathing room here. So I was okay with it. I had my family, and it was nice to slow down and it was nice to one day wake up and just be like, oh, all those things that we were supposed to go to, they're just canceled. and we have a break. And I really did savor that time. I mean, obviously it was a scary time too. There was a lot of crazy stuff happening and sad things happening, but just that perspective of my world slowing down and being home more and just having time to like play cards at night with the family and watch more movies and just spend quality time together, go for walks. Like we would just walk a lot. I think our dogs by the end of COVID were like, stop walking us. We're done. We're tired. So yeah. And I remember thinking that in the thick of it, when we were home, that would be the big realization for everybody. Like, okay, there's no way we're going to go back to that pace that we had before. But like you said, it 100% became the year of the yes, and everything. It's like we snapped our fingers and all of a sudden it was all back and then more, because people are like, oh, I'm going to do everything now.
It was double down. It's double down. I feel like even now, like I mean, we were running hard and fast before by all means, but like now it's like double time.
And you know what it is too? I think that we don't truly acknowledge the ripple effect of everything that we all went through. And I think many of us, and I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in a lot of people in my community. I've seen it in my children, and just the kids in general in schools. Like they're different. They don't have, especially the younger ones. Like my little one was in kindergarten when COVID hit. That's when they learn how to socialize. That's when they learn these like basic human skills. You know, the reading, the math. Like they'll be fine. They're going to catch up on that. They're good. But some of those basic interactions, there's no way of replicating that at home. They have to figure that out for themselves. They're behind in those areas. And I think that it makes it that much harder now. Then you get busy again, but then you have these like weird social things going on, or things that are stressing, people out, and that wouldn't have before because they're changed. So I think it's like this weird extra layer of that just makes things complicated.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a different psychology behind it.
Yes.
I notice it in a lot of folks, like clients, kids, I mean, across the board for sure.
Yeah.
How, being that you're kind of a guru of balancing, I'm going to call you that, right?
Why, thank
because
you.
You're learning and you're dedicating more time to it. Like clearly there's no one secret, but what's the secret? Like, what is the secret sauce here to make it better? I think that's the big $1 million question, right? Like how do you make it better? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you do it?
I know the why is easy enough, I think, to explain and to give words to, right? But the how is a whole nother ballgame, and it's so challenging because it is constantly changing, and it's something that we have to be like really mindful of every single day, because even if in your head you've got it all figured out and you know what your priorities are, and okay, I only have this many hours in my day or this much capacity for all of these things, and I'm going to limit myself. It's like you step into the world and then you're just bombarded from every direction, and it's easy to get lost and caught up in it. So the one thing that's helped me, and again, I don't have it figured out either. I'm trying to learn with everybody else, but I do try to think about it a lot. I am getting better, and I think that this is helping me, so maybe it'll help some of you. I'm getting better at just really like tuning into my intuition, and it's something that's there. We all have it. We're born with it. We're probably much better at listening to it when we're kids, and we get away from that as we get older because we just push through, right? Like we know we're tired, and we know we might need X, Y, and Z, but we should do, we have to still do these things. We committed to this. We're going to keep just plowing through. Maybe you don't feel good, but I said I'd go to that meeting, and we get ourselves in trouble by living like that. So I think I've been trying to dial things back and just give myself enough room. And for me, I try to give myself some like quiet time in the morning, and it doesn't have to be a long time. But just to sort of sit with my thoughts, say a little prayer, and just think about my day, think about what's important to me, think about how are things going? That's not a question I would ever ask myself before. I just didn't realize, like I'd ask other people, hey, how are you? What's good? But I wouldn't really ask myself and then sit around and listen and figure out what the answer is. So I think that giving yourself a little breathing room is really important so that you can then hear that inner voice and then follow that intuition more than you might be doing right now. And I think that that's very helpful. and it'll give you a lot of answers. Maybe not answers you want to hear, but you'll get some answers. And I think that no can be a powerful word. Sometimes we just, yes, yes, yes. We talked about the year of yes. I think no is important too, because, and it can be a kind, polite no, but I don't know, I don't want to let anybody down. And I stopped working when I had my third child so that I could like be home with my kids. And I thought I should be volunteering for everything. And you can really spread yourself too thin and then just feel, experience burnout. So I think it's important to try to avoid that because you're not helping anybody when you're burned out. You feel crummy. You're not there for the people around you. So no one's winning.
Yeah, that's solid advice. And I think that
Yeah.
self-talk, right,
Yeah.
that's huge because spot on, right? You always say, how are you? What's going on? You want to hear from everyone around you. But when do you really take that time to ask yourself that big question?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And then along with that, like give yourself some grace. Like if you kind of are checking in with yourself and you're like, I'm not good, I'm stressed out right now, I'm exhausted. Give yourself the grace to, okay, let's take a minute and rest. Let's say no to this thing tonight. Let's just take a step back and give yourself what you need and give yourself the grace. Cause you know what, I'm trying to get in the habit of like thinking, well, what would I tell my best friend? Cause I would be much kinder to her than I am to myself. So try to treat yourself that way.
And you should be your own best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. So on this podcast, we also like to talk about money memories, financial infidelities, and there's definitely a tie from what you and I have discussed before.
Yes.
With the overlap with balance and money too, right? Finding that balance of whatever that looks like of, you're working hard, you're saving, you're doing all the things so you can indeed have more time and have more balance potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to money memories for you, what's a money memory that resonates from you of a younger age that maybe helped mold your relationship to money as an adult?
So the thing that comes to mind to me, we talked about this a little bit prior to recording. I was not a kid. I wasn't a little kid. I was a big kid. I had just gotten my first job and I was like shocked. I thought I was going to be, making all this money. It was like my first real paycheck. And the amount of money that got taken out of that paycheck for things was like, I had to pick my jaw up off the floor. I was not expecting that. And here I am, like college degree and everything. And I really didn't understand money. And I'll never forget when I saw that paycheck for the first time, how baffled I was. So I think that scared me a lot because it scared me for a few reasons. Like A, I realized, I'm not very educated on this. And B, it was scary because I thought I was going to be making a lot more money than I was. So, there was definitely a learning curve that came with that.
You are listening to the Platinum Talks Wealth Podcast.
Hey, it's Jennifer. I wanted to take a quick break to remind you that you are worthy to have a seat at the table when it comes to money and your finances. We, both me and my team at Platinum Wealth Management, want to meet you where you are, whether you're starting out, starting over, or have been investing for years. Reach out to us at platinumwealth.net or call us at 775-717-0001. We'd be honored to help.
And now, back to the podcast.
But, I think it made me a little nervous and I think it made me feel like a little bit of that scarcity mindset because I'm like, maybe I'm not going to be as comfortable as I thought. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm fine. We went down to one paycheck for quite a while too. When I decided, I was very, 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 very lucky. I had a choice to stop working when I had my third child. So I was able to do that. We were able to make that work. So I feel very fortunate.
But no one talks you through like, hey,
no.
Taxes, it's a thing. They're going to be taken out and there's lots of them on your paycheck.
Exactly.
Like you think when you're younger, you're like, yes. I mean, I remember my first on-air TV job and I was making like not a lot of money. And I remember driving through a drive-through, which was a new drive-through like for fast food because I worked crazy hours, not to justify it, but I did. I was like, okay, I'm going to go get myself a treat.
Yep.
So I drove through and there was a sticker on the window saying, hey, we're hiring. And it was for this dollar amount. And it was way more than I was making as a reporter on television. And I was like, oh, are you kidding? Like, this is crazy. And I'm working crazy hours. And I remember that being such a pivotal moment, saying you're working crazy hours, you're not making that much. And then you get your paycheck and you're like, taxes on top of what?
Now there's
Like,
even
how
less.
is this a thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was an aha moment for me. I didn't understand it all. And then I was just mad. I'm like, how did I go through, just finish? And I was a good student. Like, I was a very good student. How did I get this far in life and no one taught me these things?
Yeah. And for you, that is your financial infidelity that you were sharing too, right? Share more about that if you're open to it.
Yes. So really, yeah, they're very much intertwined. Just, that is one of my big regrets, that I didn't learn more when I was in school. I know I can still learn now, and I'm planning on taking some of your monthly classes to just become more educated and more comfortable in this area. But I'm just like, how, like, it blows my mind. I got my bachelor's is music education. So they made me take 3 semesters of a foreign language, but I didn't have to take a basic finance class. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. I went on and got a master's degree. I didn't have to take finance there either. And, looking back, I should have taken them as electives and things. I didn't know any better. So I'm trying to rewrite that story with my own kids and educate them younger and get them, luckily my daughter's in high school now, there are several courses that are offered. And I was like, you are taking all of them because this is important. You're going to need to know this stuff. So, I'm learning, you learn from it. You learn from things, but that is a big regret that I have just in my own path in terms of my relationship with money.
Good job. You're trying to educate your kids, right? Because you always want your generation, your kids to do better than you and learn more than you and grow more than you. And again, I feel like we didn't have the tools growing up generationally, right? It wasn't discussed. It wasn't common. There wasn't a podcast like this, right? For me, I've made it my quest to really just educate. And I think this podcast is so important because I'm sure people are going to hear your story and be like, yes, that is so true. And I'm trying to figure it out now. And where do I go? And how do I get that additional education? And it's out there, whether it's through, podcasts or working with a financial advisor, or like we do a coffee chat monthly that's educational, that's free. I feel like there's more out there now than there has been. But for a lot of folks like that I've talked to on this podcast, the common thread is the lack of financial literacy that's out there, or that they had growing up. So I commend you that you're teaching your kids, to learn and to be all the things and learn what you didn't have when you were younger.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, as we wrap the conversation, one thing I like to ask is, what are tips or tricks that you use to utilize money in your household?
Okay. Something that my husband and I started doing like a year and a half ago or so. I was just getting very stressed out keeping tabs of everything. We didn't have a ton of credit cards and we always would pay them off monthly, but we had enough, a couple different, Target, like different store cards and things that I would shop at often. We had enough bills coming in each month that it just felt a little bit, and a lot of them were even on auto pay, but it just felt like a little overwhelming and a little bit hard to keep track of it all. If you want to have a true snapshot of your finances, it's easier to look in one place to just see, okay, this is what we're spending, rather than have to pull up all these different accounts and things like that. So we made the decision to basically stop using credit cards. And what my initial plan was, I really wanted to do like the whole envelope system and use cash for everything. Because I feel like there's definitely a connection there when it's like tangible money that you're handing over. You have a better idea. Like I did it a few times. I remember being in Costco trying to like calculate everything in my head and figure out how much this cart was going to cost me when I got up to the register. And it was pretty hard to do because I wasn't super conscious of that all the time. I was lucky. I kind of, it was always like, oh, what's the number going to be when I get there, and worry about it later. So we were trying to use cash for everything, and it wasn't the easiest. We just had trouble keeping that up. So generally what we'll do now is we pretty much use our debit card for everything. So we're still using a card. I think if you can figure out how to use the cash all the time or most of the time, that's probably best. Cause then it's also like, oh, the envelope's empty. Okay, we're done. That's your budget. It's not as easy to keep track of with a card.
Then, right? It's real and raw in that moment. It's not just going out into the cyberspace of the world, unlimited, cash on a credit card.
Yeah. And I think that's really valuable. And it's just, yeah, it's real and raw. It's black and white. You can see it. You have it, you don't have it. And so that was really helpful for us. So we still have like a credit card or two that we don't really use it much, but we have some things that are on it and we left it, just some insurance stuff. And that's fine. We know it's there. We're going to be going overseas soon. So I think that I feel safer using a credit card sometimes overseas with like the just for a lot of reasons. So we'll probably use it on that trip. But generally, it's been a nice way to simplify our budget, and it's made it less stressful. So I have found it really helpful. And I would recommend it to anybody who is thinking of ways to kind of simplify in terms of their own budget. And the other thing is that as I started to slow down more and be more intentional really in every area of my life as much as I could, there's that, as we've been saying, it goes hand in hand with spending and with finance. And it has made me just think my mindset's different with money. Like going back to Target again. I don't know why I'm talking about Target so much, but when you walk in and there's those bins, right? You walk in past those dollar bins, like I just walk right past them now. I'm like, I know I don't need any of that stuff. And I know if I stop and start looking, I will buy some of it. I don't need it. I'm also
who doesn't need colored pens in a little basket, right? Everyone.
Exactly. It's like extra $20 later with stuff you don't need. And then, and then I really have tried to remind myself, like, I get stressed out by clutter. I've worked very hard to streamline my home and not bring too much junk in. I'm trying to like teach my kids that, like, we don't need all those things. We'll buy what we need. We are not going to buy those markers. We have 1,000 markers at home. We don't need more, because those little things, like, okay, oh, it's $2. All right, whatever. I'll just buy it. That adds up after a while, times like the 3 kids, you let everybody do it. All of a sudden, it's like every time you go somewhere, it really starts to it can be a significant part of your budget. So it was just being more intentional with like what I want to bring into my life has helped me change my thoughts about spending in a good way.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing and spending some time with us.
My pleasure. It's been a lot of fun talking with you today.
Thank you. And hopefully you will all join us again on our next Platinum Talks Wealth podcast.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, Platinum Talks Wealth, please subscribe and share. For more information about Jennifer Rogers Markwell or Platinum Wealth Management, please visit www.platinumwealth.net. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member of FINRA and SIPC. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. The guest speakers and their companies are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial or Platinum Wealth Management.